What is chastity? Well, we've talked about a lot of different things so far. We've talked about the physical aspects of the human person and some spiritual and emotional and creative and intellectual things. Let's talk about what chastity is. If you've ever heard that word, your first assumption is it's going to be about the S word. Yes, sex or sexuality. And it's true, it is about that, but it is so much more than just that. Chastity is a virtue. And virtue is a good habit or a quality to strive for in your life. Kind of like honesty and patience or self-control, generosity, kindness, and fairness. And because it's a virtue, you're not just going to be perfect at it right away. You're going to have to practice. Just like you practice the things like patience and self-control, you have to practice chastity. Chastity is appreciating and respecting your body and its changes and new sexual feelings that come about as you develop and as you grow. Chastity is for everybody. Young, old, married, and single. It is God's gift. Sexuality, human sexuality is God's gift. And chastity helps us to respect the gift that He gives us when it's practiced. If we take a look at this poster, we see that we present ourselves as a person. We do not present our sexiness. You remember the spice flower? These are all the elements that involve ourselves as a whole person. To be quote-unquote sexy is more about just the physical. How you present yourself physically, or how other people perceive you physically, or how you dress, or how you talk. But chastity is about presenting yourself as a whole person. We're also called to be pure in thought, word, and action. Your mind is a sponge. If you put dirt in, dirt's going to come out. When you meet your spouse, think about what your spouse is going to find when he gives you a squeeze. Just like that sponge. If you are soaking up things like that are harmful to your whole person, such as bad movies or books that are inappropriate, or TV or music or internet, or even being around friends that are not being a good example to you and not helping you to grow in chastity. Those are the things that are going to come out when you meet your spouse and you get close and he starts to really learn who you are inside as a whole person. And if you spent your life up until that point putting dirt in, then he's going to find a lot of dirt inside there. But if you spent your life trying to practice chastity and trying to put healthy things and holy things into your body and your mind and your soul, then that's what your spouse is going to find. So it's important to let goodness in your mind and your heart, so that goodness is what comes out in your words and your actions. Not only just for your future spouse, but for your friends and your family as well. Because we're called to be an example to everyone we meet. We express sexual desire with respect, reverence, and restraint. New feelings and attractions to the opposite sex will eventually lead us to want to get married and have a family someday. Living chastity means that we'll have to know God's plan. We have to respect and reverence our bodies, and respect and reverence someone else's body. Restraint, if we look in the Bible, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8, says, "Be self-controlled and alert." That's what restraint is about. Self-control. Not acting out on every physical or emotional desire that you come across, but being able to restrain some of those things, whether they're appropriate or not, because God gives us these feelings for a reason, because He's making us ready for that marital relationship and for having a family, and for babies and bonding. But again, remember, God's plan is for those gifts to be played out in the committed marriage relationship. Enjoy intercourse as a wonderful celebration of married love and children as the gift of that love. It sounds unfamiliar now, but as we grow, it's going to make more sense. It's God's plan for babies and bonding, also new life, to develop within the marriage relationship. It's what brought each of us here today. God's love through our mother and our father, united in the marital embrace, is how we came to be. God loved us into being through our mother and our father. So chastity is a virtue for everybody because everybody's purpose is to love. The virtue of chastity is about becoming a loving person.